The landing alarm screamed wrong planet in 3 languages, while my thermos popped its seal and shot a brown arc across the cockpit, and the nearest alien watchtower instantly lit up with a red countdown that read 4 minutes 12 seconds. A siren outside answered with something that sounded like a whale choking on a trumpet, and my visor translated it as "Forbidden biofuel detected. Prepare for purification." The crash harness locked. The hatch fused half shut, and every second the tower's countdown got louder, like it was shouting the numbers into my bones. I slapped the console, yelled at the nav, and all it did was display a helpful message that said, "You have arrived at not here." The thermos rolled under my boot like a guilty grenade, and my coffee steamed through a crack in the seal, apparently broadcasting my existence to the entire planet. Outside, spotlights pinned my wreck like I was a bug on a lab table, and drones circled while the tower repeated the same warning, angrier each time. I tried to open a comms channel, but the only frequency I could catch was a public emergency broadcast, calmly informing citizens to avoid the area of the incoming war god. When I finally shouldered the hatch open, the air smelled like hot metal, wet clay, and panic, and the countdown dropped under 3 minutes like it was sprinting. I stepped out with my hands up, holding the thermos away from me, and the spotlights immediately tightened like they were focusing on a weapon. A squad of locals poured from behind a berm with long shields and longer rifles, and my translator rendered their leader's shout as "Drop the twitch juice." I yelled back that it was just coffee, and the squad recoiled as if I'd confessed to juggling live reactors. One of them, a skinny one with a respirator, whispered something, and my translator kindly offered human confirmed level 5 persistence predator, "Do not let it walk." I looked down at my boots, looked up at the tower, and realized the wrong planet landing wasn't my biggest problem anymore, because they were terrified of me doing cardio. My name is Calder, logistics officer, 3rd class, accidentally demoted twice, and currently the proud pilot of a drop pod that had kissed the wrong atmosphere like it owed it money. The mission had been simple on paper, which is always how missions start, right before they become slapstick tragedies. Deliver field rations and med patches to 4th Battalion. Avoid ion storms. Do not spill anything on the guidance array. I had done the first 2, and then my thermos decided to participate in warfare. Coffee is my one sacred habit, my portable bit of sanity, my tiny warm rebellion against space being cold and rude. On this planet, apparently, coffee was a classified substance that turned humans into jittering, hyper-focused war deities that couldn't be negotiated with. The tower's countdown hit 2 minutes, and the leader's shield squad formed a semicircle, rifles trained on my thermos, not my face. "Okay," I said, speaking slowly. "I am lost, I am unarmed, and I am extremely tired." The translator betrayed me by turning that into predator claims fatigue to lure prey. A drone dipped closer, and its sensor array clicked like teeth, inhaling my coffee vapor like it was reading my criminal record. The leader barked again, and the translator flashed ritual of neutralization. "Will commence at 0. I glanced at the tower, then at the thermos, then at the burning pod behind me, and my brain offered exactly one plan, which was to not die. "Listen," I said, "this is bean water. It's hot. It's for morale. It does not summon anything." The skinny one hissed. "It summons endurance. It summons marching. It summons eyes that do not blink." I blinked on principle, extra slow, just to be polite. The leader seemed to interpret that as a tactical feint and raised their rifle a little higher. The countdown hit 1 minute, and the tower began to vent a pale mist that rolled across the dirt like a curtain. My visor labeled it purification fog, which sounded like a product you'd buy in a mall kiosk, right before regretting your entire life. I backed up a step, and the squad backed up 3, like my movement had gravity. That's when I understood the core of the issue. On their scale of threats, a human who could walk for 8 hours without dying was basically a siege engine with opinions. They weren't scared of my weapons, because I didn't have any. They were scared of my legs. I tried a different angle because negotiating under a countdown teaches creativity fast. I can't even walk 8 hours today, I said. I can barely walk to the bathroom. The translator made it worse by adding emphasis on bathroom as taggit. The skinny one screamed, "It intends to reach the water sanctum." The leader shouted, "Contain it before it gains momentum," and suddenly half the squad dropped small metal discs into the dirt that unfolded into ankle-high fences, like someone had deployed aggressive furniture. They were building a perimeter to stop me from strolling. I had never felt so personally attacked by interior design. The purification fog crept closer, and my throat tightened as it licked the edges of my helmet seals. I heard my pod's reactor pop behind me, and a shower of sparks punched into the sky like fireworks that hated me. The tower's voice shifted into a calm recital, the kind you hear before something is erased from history. I raised the thermos higher, because clearly it was the idol everyone wanted. "Take it," I said. "Take the thermos, take the coffee, just stop the fog." The squad collectively flinched like I'd offered them a live animal. The leader took one cautious step forward, shield first, then extended a tool that looked like tongs married to a microscope. They pinched the thermos in the air, holding it at arm's length, and the crowd gasped as if they'd just witnessed sacrilege. At 30 seconds, the tower's mist thickened, and the ground began to vibrate under my boots in a steady pulse. Something big was waking up under the sand, and my visor offered a cheerful label: Exorcism Platform Deploying. I watched the dirt bulge in a ring around my pod, and plates rose like the petals of a metal flower. The leader shouted, "Do not let the predator touch the platform. It will harness it," I said. "I don't even know what it does." The translator, of course, rendered that as Predator Denis' knowledge of its power source. They dragged my thermos toward the tower like it was a bomb that needed to be thrown into a volcano. The skinny one followed, chanting something that sounded like a prayer and a panic attack having a duet. I stood inside their ankle fences, watching the exorcism platform rise, and I had a horrible, simple thought. If they believed coffee made humans into war gods, then taking my thermos away probably looked like they were disarming a deity. And if they believed humans were persistence predators, then watching me stand still under a countdown probably looked like I was charging. At 20 seconds, a second squad arrived, heavier armor, bigger rifles, and a portable speaker that screamed instructions at me in a voice like a drill sergeant made of gravel. My translator flashed "Lee down and cease endurance." "I'm already lying down emotionally," I muttered, but I didn't move, because movement was apparently a felony here. The ground plates locked into place around my feet, forming a circle of glowing lines that pulsed in time with the countdown. My visor beeped and suggested I consider repentance, which was not a standard military procedure. At 10 seconds, the leader held my thermos up toward the tower, and the tower's sensors drank in the steam like it was tasting sin. The crowd behind the berm started to murmur, and my translator caught fragments like war, God breath, and 8 hours, and never stops. I realized they weren't going to kill me because I crashed. They were going to kill me because my morning routine had triggered their apocalypse protocol. I opened my mouth to shout something useful, like, "I can make tea instead," but the tower drowned me out with a final, triumphant tone. At 0, the platform's glow surged. The purification fog snapped into a tight spiral, and the tower boomed one word that my translator rendered with absolute certainty: "Walk." And the entire squad screamed at me to not do it, like the universe itself was a treadmill and I'd just been dared. I looked down at the glowing circle around my boots, felt it tug at my joints like invisible hands, and realized the worst part. Whatever this ritual was, it wasn't designed to stop a human from walking. It was designed to see how far I could go. I took one step because the platform pulled, and the ground screamed like it had lost a bet. Every alien within sight panicked at once, shouting warnings that translated into variations of "It is walking. The glow followed my boots, locking onto my stride, and the tower adjusted its sensors like a predator leaning forward. I tried to stop, but the platform didn't care about intent, only motion, and it rewarded each step with more energy. 5 steps in, the fog snapped back into the tower like it was being inhaled. 10 steps in, the ankle fences folded themselves flat in surrender. The leader screamed orders that turned into static, because the tower had switched priorities from purification to observation. I realized then that this was not an execution, it was a calibration. My legs burned, my lungs complained, and my suit calmly informed me I could maintain this pace for several hours. The tower repeated that estimate out loud. The word hours echoed across the flats like a curse. Several aliens physically sat down to process it. The platform extended, plates sliding outward to give me more room, like a courteous arena. I walked because stopping hurt more than moving, and because panic had nowhere else to go. With every step, the tower recalculated, lights shifting colors as if embarrassed by basic biology. My coffee thermos, still clutched in the leader's tongs, began to rattle violently. At 1 minute, the tower announced predator, calm state detected. At 2 minutes, it added hyper-focus potential increasing. At 3 minutes, it requested additional data and deployed observation pylons around my path. A heavy weapons team arrived, took one look at me walking in a glowing circle, and quietly backed away. The ground plates warmed under my boots, sinking to my stride like they were learning. Every step fed the tower more numbers, more certainty, more fear. My suit logged hydration loss and suggested coffee intake. The aliens screamed when it said the word coffee again. I laughed once, sharp and exhausted, because this planet had built a god trap and accidentally turned it into a walking trail. My comms crackled, and through the interference I heard a human voice, distant and confused. Calder, it said, why is there a red zone forming around your position shaped like a footprint? I didn't answer, because the tower answered first. It broadcast upward, outward, everywhere at once. A human subject confirmed. Level 5, persistence predator confirmed. Biofuel sources repoied for full continuity. The leader stared at the thermos, then at me, then at the endlessly extending platform. They argued with another officer in frantic bursts, the translator struggling to keep up. Key phrases came through clearly. If it drinks again, it will not stop. The thermos slipped from the tongs. It hit the glowing plates, cracked open, and coffee spilled across alien circuitry that had never known beans or regret. Steam rose. The tower screamed. Lights flared white, then blue, then something that hurt to look at. The platform surged forward, pulling me with it, converting my walk into a directive. My muscles locked into rhythm, my breathing steadied, and my vision narrowed. I was no longer being tested. I was being modeled. The ground ahead unfolded in perfect alignment, a road forming where none had existed. Observation pylons rolled alongside me like obedient pets. The aliens retreated in waves, weapons forgotten, documenting every step like historians at the end of an era. The tower recalculated again. Revised estimate. Subject may walk until environment fails. That sentence caused a stampede. My comms cleared for half a second, long enough for command to whisper, Calder, do not engage. Repeat, do not engage. I replied that I was just walking. The tower translated it for them as Predator entering low power mode. The platform extended beyond the crash site, beyond the watchtower, beyond the berms. It crossed open plains, shallow ridges, ancient markers that crumbled as it passed. Each step rewrote local maps. I passed evacuation vehicles fleeing sideways, terrified to be in my path. I passed drones that slowed to match my pace, then failed and crashed from sensor overload. The tower followed at a distance, careful now, respectful. Distance tracked on my visor, ticking upward with relentless patience. The planet adjusted behind me, systems throttling down, alarms quieting into awe. No one tried to stop me anymore. Eventually, the platform began to dim, not because I slowed, but because it had learned enough. The tower broadcast one final update, quieter than the rest. Containment impossible. Observation complete. Ahead of me, the road kept forming. Behind me, an entire civilization reconsidered its threat classifications. I kept walking because the platform ended, but my legs did not.